I haven't done one of these in a while, Alex.
Hey,
you know that I haven't done one of these in person.
Sit down.
Yeah. I don't know what we're gonna call this, but we don't need to come up with that right now.
Mate, we call it whatever we want. So that's how we roll.
Yeah, man. All right, so let's just start off with what has been the biggest change you've had over the last since January this year. What's been the biggest change in your life? And let me be more specific. Created change.
Oh, I like that. Creative change. Mate, you gotta pre-warn me with that stuff.
Oh, there was you in the car coming in with that big talk like, I don't need to.
I say that and then I'm just gonna absolutely freestyle my answer while I put on some hand sanny. Biggest creative change for me since January has been a change in focus. Oh, these things are well high, innit?
Oh, so you press the button and you can.
Okay. Oh, there we go. That's better.
I got this posture right chair. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, you got to have the thing level with the desk. that's the right posture to have. Anyway, so the biggest creative change for me since January is change of focus, man. Change of energy. Like where I've been putting my focus on things in my life has drastically changed because I realized that. So basically, when it came to my coaching business, I realized I was putting loads of energy into stuff that I thought was going to help grow my business, like creating content, podcasting, all the stuff that I've been doing for years and years and years. And then I was getting frustrated with the results I was getting in my business because they weren't what I wanted them to be. But then I realized well, I'm not putting the focus and the energy into the right areas of the business. I'm putting it into the face value stuff, the surface stuff, like giving people content, which I love doing. I love creating content. I love recording podcasts. I love making stupid videos for TikTok and Instagram and sharing quotes and I love it. Like I'm always going to do it. It's like, I just know that. But fundamentally, when it comes to coaching and the work and the business that we're in, it's a relationship game, right? If you're not having conversations with people, you're not building relationships with people, you're not going to go any further than that if you're not doing it. So it's simple as that. So I just had to realign my focus as to okay, what is it that I actually want to create in my life? First and foremost, a coaching business. Why do I want to create a coaching business? Because I love to help people, first and foremost. I feel like I can help a lot of people. And then secondly, I want to have travel as a big part of my life. I want to have the freedom to work from wherever I want to work. So I can travel and I can do everything else that I want to do whilst I work. So if I wasn't going out there and putting the focus in creating that lifestyle for myself, what the bloody hell was I doing with my time? So I realized that that's what needed to change. And that was something I needed to create. I needed to create a focus. And I did that I took I think it was a 3-month break from my podcast. I've never taken a break from my podcast before. I think I've missed 2 Thursdays in 4 years since starting my podcast. And I decided that with the help of our friend Mahir, he helped me realize that I needed to take a break and that it was justified. And that if I did take a break, it didn't mean that people were going to stop listening to my podcast and whatever, because there were still 200 plus episodes for people to listen to. So I took a break from that. And in that space that I gave myself, I allowed myself to just align my focus to what it is that I wanted to create with my life. And that's what happened.
Sick. You know, when I say created change, I think there's created change, that's God with a small g, and then there's change that's forced on you, God with a big G. And I think a lot of focus is placed on change is happening all the time. Is it created change or is it outside of you change? I like to draw that distinction. And if you want to chime in, we would love to hear what you think. What's your created change?
Yeah, what's your version of it? Because to me, created change is making a conscious decision about something that you want to change and then changing it by doing the thing that you need to do in order for it to change. It's like sitting at home and being I want to have a more physically fit body, but not going to the gym or not going for walks or not doing yoga or not doing something that's going to physically benefit your body. You have to do the thing that's actually going to help create the thing that you want to create. And if you're not consciously doing it, then you're just going to default into how you've been living like all this time. Your future's just going to default to that.
The default future versus the created future sounds quite familiar to me. Where'd you pick that one up from, Chief?
Man. I don't know. I think I read it somewhere.
I thought you were gonna say I made it up.
Nah, give credit where it's due.
You know, there's something else I want to talk to you about, because at one point in time, sorry, hold on.
And I take my jacket off as well.
You're wearing daily paper quite a lot. What is this?
You don't know about daily paper?
I don't know shit about anything,
mate. A daily paper jacket on top of that Mortal Kombat t-shirt will pop right. They're doing a 50% sale right now. Shout out my guys, Daily Paper.
Oh wow! Do you know them personally?
No, but my best mate does. They're a sick brand from Amsterdam. They're actually getting really big. I've known about them for like last 5-6 years maybe. Like I've met them when I've been in Amsterdam with my mate. They're sick guys as well, and their brand is, mate. The quality of their clothing is unreal. Like everything I've owned from them, I've had maybe like 7-8 pieces. Everything is top quality, like top quality. So, and the price, I mean, it's not like cheap, but it's not super expensive either. It's like a really good middle ground. Quality is unreal. Doing a 50% sale right now. So
can't go wrong.
On your way home, mate, get on the website.
Have you got an affiliate code?
No, I wish I did. Mate, 50% off. No need. You don't need a promo code, mate.
That's true. I'm Indian. I got to ask.
Get that extra 5%.
You get free shipping at least.
But yeah, man, sick brands.
All right, so here's what I wanted to ask you. I was just making sure my phone was on airplane mode. Here's what I wanted to ask you: skateboarding.
Oof.
This is one of the reasons why I just wanted to. I wanted more people to know about what you were doing, because people start stuff and then they give up all the time. You brought up the example of going to the gym, right? Maybe I'm a weirdo. I don't know. Okay, I do know the answer to that. I am. But I don't find it hard to stick with something when I'm doing it. I find it hard to get started. But with you, it was like, oh yeah, I can't kickflip, I can't ollie, I can't do stuff right now, but I just keep showing everyone. You weren't trying to do it like, hey, look at me, I'm trying. There was like a great life coaching example of like, yeah, you're not going to be good in the beginning. You just keep going and you get better. And I told so many people about what you were doing, because I was so inspired myself. I was like, he started this new thing. I know you liked skateboarding before, but it wasn't really like a progression type thing you were trying to do. Yeah. So what brought all of this on?
I just thought, completely randomly, we should have done an Instagram live where we could have just popped our phones up, and I've got no battery, but we could have taken questions while we're doing it.
Oh, that's a good. You know what? Fuck it.
We do it next time.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I've literally only got like 15%.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, the skateboarding thing started like, how did that start? So here's how it started. So when I was younger, I loved to play the Tony Hawk games. I loved Tony Hawk, Pro Skater 2, PlayStation 2 vibes. I used to love it when you could unlock Spider-Man. Do you remember you could unlock Spider-Man as a character, and he'd do that sick trick where he'd go up the ramp, he'd flick his board in the air, and then he'd like bring it back with a web and then like go back down on it. I used to love that shit. So I was always interested in skateboarding, and I always liked the culture around it, like the clothing around it, all of that sort of stuff that came as part of the package of skateboarding. But I just never skated because I didn't have any friends that were interested in skateboarding. I didn't know anyone who skateboarded. Like we all, if we went out, we'd go out on our bikes or wherever. We'd play football. Like no one skated. So I didn't really ever get around to doing it. Or other side of that is I never really put myself out there to push myself to do the thing that I wanted to do. So roll forward to like 2019. I went traveling in Japan, and I was there with two mates. And while we was there, we met this girl from Montreal, Canada, called Flora, and she was really cool, super sick. Like we hung out with her like for a few days. And then when I left and she stayed in Japan, we stayed in contact and blah, blah, blah. And she was a skater. So she would like show me all this stuff that she was like skateboarding videos like in Montreal and stuff. And I was like, oh, that looks sick. And Saint just told me like, go and visit Montreal. Cause like A, I've heard it's a sick city. And B, it'd be sick to just like go and hang out there with someone who lives there, who's from there and can show you around properly. And when I went, we ended up spending a lot of time in the skate parks, even though I couldn't skate. So I'd be sat there like watching everyone skate, and then having conversations with people, And everyone was just super chill. Everyone was like, even though I wasn't skating, people would just like come and sit next to me, have a chat, like, oh, like, we doing, like, what's going on? Oh, you're from London, like, sick, like, what brings you to Montreal, like, all this, right? And I was like, bro, this is just mad sick, because like people just come here, and some people were like skating hard, they didn't get off their skateboard, and other people would like go and do something for like a minute, and then they'd come back and they'd sit and they'd have a beer and they'd chat for another hour, and then they'd do like one other thing. Like, it was like a proper social thing, and I was like, this is sick, you know. And I thought, do you know what, I'd love to come back here having learned how to skate, so that I can actually like skate here with some of these people. So when I got back to London, this was like May 2019. When I got back to London, I had in my flat, I had a skateboard that was I bought it as like an art piece for my flat. So it was just in the corner because it had a sick artwork on the deck. And I was looking at it and I was like, I'm gonna take that to the park. Because I used to live in Bethnal Green, so I was right near Victoria Park, and there's like a big track that goes the whole way around the park. So I took it to the park and I just got on it and I just started pushing, and I was like, oh, this is quite fun, even though like I didn't know at the time the skateboard was really crap. But I was like, this is really fun. And then because I was doing that, I came across this like little corner of the park where there was like a group of older skateboarders, like in their 30s plus, where they'd kind of meet randomly in the evenings, like people would just know to go there. So I started like hovering around there a bit, chatting to people. And then like one guy, there was this Italian dude, he started like teaching me like how to ollie. I was telling him like, I'm not really comfortable on the board and just like getting used to pushing around and stuff. Like I want to start learning how to ollie. And he was like showing me what to do and how to do it. And I think after like 6-7 attempts, like I did my first proper ollie, and he was like, oh my God, man, that's so quick. Like you've picked that up so quick. Like you've just ollied. Do you know that? And I was like, is that good? Yeah. He was like, mate, that's unbelievable. Most people, it takes them ages to like get like half an inch off the ground with an ollie. Like you just done it in like less than 10 attempts. I was like, okay. And so, and then I just got like, I got really into the idea of like pushing myself. Like at the time I was like 31, so it's like it's not easy to learn skateboarding when you're 31, when you've never done it before. Like pushing around on a skateboard, learning how to ollie, trying to get up a curb, down a curb, trying to like spin the board under your feet. And I'm not good. Like I can only do like 3 or 4 tricks, like, and not even do them well. But I just loved it. I was like, and I wanted to go out and practice all the time. And one of the things I was doing to keep myself accountable was to do like a skate diary on my Insta stories. Every time I went to the park, I'd like put my phone up against my water bottle and I just put it on record, and I just record myself practicing whatever it was, ollies or going up the ramps or doing turns or shoves, which is where you spin the board 180 under your feet. So you kind of like jump up, spin the board 180 and then land on it again. And I was just like, this is sick. And then the more that I was posting it, people were loving it. Even people who don't skate, people who don't, like you, that don't care about skateboarding were like, oh, this is sick. Like, keep it going. And it was just like this mad thing that just kept happening. And I just really fucking genuinely enjoy it. Like, I just love going, and I don't do it that much, like as much as I'd want to, but like I still try and go to the park like maybe once a week, once every 2 weeks that I push. And just like, there's like now that I've moved back to North London, there's like a crew of like dads. We've got like a WhatsApp, I'm not a dad, but like everyone else is a dad. There's like a WhatsApp group of like elderly skateboarders, and we like, there's like 20 something of us, and it's like people always putting in that, oh, who wants a Thursday night session, or like tonight a few people are going down to Bay 66 in West London under the bridge to like the old man night. Like, this is just cool. There's such a sick like social thing around skating, which just makes it so much fun, because even if you're crap, like, and I'm like probably the worst skater out of the group, I can still have a good time because I can go and chat to people and hang out. I can try my thing, stick to my corner, practice my little crappy tricks, and still have a good time. And yeah, man, that's my skate story, man.
That would make a great Instagram clip if someone was about that life. All right, there's something else I want to ask you. Music reviews.
Oh, giving the game away.
You've reviewed music for a long time.
Yeah.
And you've always had a certain ear for it. What do you think you're seeing? And I don't mean this in like a rude way, but like traditional album reviews are like, yes, sonically it sounds like this. Yes, the themes are like this. Oh, the stories they're telling are like this. You're coming at it differently. I remember when you were telling me about the Drake album, and you told me about one. You put a voice note in our group chat. I I feel like I've got an answer for this, but I want to know for you, like, what do you think you're taking differently from, let's say, that Drake album that other people, you haven't heard it being talked about that way?
I guess because I've always been so into music. Like, as you know, I had a blog that me and my best mate started in like 2010, and we kept it up for like 8-9 years. We did club nights, we reviewed albums, we interviewed artists. Off of the back of that, I started working at BBC Radio 1 Extra, doing social media, like, again, interviewing artists, making content, like being super into music, into the scene, and well respected in the scene as well. And I've just always been into it. And over the last like few years, I kind of lost I wouldn't say I've lost my interest in music, but it just kind of went on a back burner for me, because I've just got even more into like my self-development and all the stuff, and skateboarding, ironically, and stuff like that, and travel. And this year there's been a lot of good music that's been released, because of obviously everyone had nothing to do last year, so they just made music, right? So it's been like album upon album being released. And I think like when I've been listening to albums these days, yeah, okay, I'm enjoying it for the sonics and for the cadence of the artist and the this and the that, but I'm also like applying a self-development lens to the albums that I'm listening to. So like with the Drake album, for example, I'll summarize it because I think it was quite a long voice note, but what I basically said in the voice note was that I liked the new album, Certified Lover Boy, and I compared it to one of his previous albums. Nothing was the same, because it kind of builds musically in very similar ways. The sounds of some of the tracks are very similar, the vibes very similar. And I was like, but Drake never makes a 10 out of 10 album. Like, he hasn't got a 10 out of 10 album. And if anyone wants to say that he has, they're lying. Fact. Like, because it's like everyone knows he hasn't got a classic album. He hasn't got a Blueprint. He hasn't got a To Pimp the Butterfly. What's it called?
Pimp a Butterfly.
Pimp a Butterfly. Do you know what I mean? He hasn't. What's the Kanye one? Dark Twisted Fantasy. He hasn't got an album like that. He's just got like solid 7.5, 8, 8.5 albums, right? And I was like, but that's not a bad thing, because I don't think Drake's trying to make a 10 out of 10 album. I don't think Drake's trying to make a masterpiece. He's not trying to make an album for people to be like, oh, this is the greatest album ever existed in like, he makes an album because he loves music and he loves putting good music in the world. And he's always experimenting. He's always playing with different ideas, different sounds, different tones, different cadences, different styles of rap, different flows. And he just enjoys to put good stuff out into the world. And if that compiles into an album, sick. If it's a good album to sick album, wicked. If it's not a 10 out of 10, I'm sure he's not that bothered, because he probably still sells the most albums out of anyone anyway. But the point of it is, he makes music that he enjoys making to put good music out into the world. Same with Kanye. Kanye always puts out sick music. Probably doesn't always get the ratings it gets when it gets released, but over the years, over time, a lot of the music and a lot of the tunes that both of them put out stand the test of time, because they're good music. It's just straight facts. Good music, good tunes stand the test of time. And this goes for us as people, and this is where the self-development comes into it. When you continually put good things out into the world, those good things stand the test of time. And when you're continually doing that in your life, those little things that you're putting out into the world build up, and the picture of your life starts to turn out differently. It starts to become a different picture to what your default future would look like, what we were saying earlier. And when you build that picture up with all of these little good things that you're putting out here, putting out there, like, they stand the test of time. And that's what creates more goodness in other people. So when Drake releases good music, he's doing it to put more good music into the world for people to enjoy. When you're doing good things in the world, you're doing them to put more goodness, to put more love, to put more compassion into the world. And then you receive that back in many other ways. And that's what I got from that album. And that's not because of any of the tracks specifically, but that was just by me thinking like, oh, Drake never really makes a 10 out of 10 album. I wonder why that is. And then something clicked in my head that was like, oh, maybe he's not trying to make a 10 out of 10 album. Maybe he's just trying to put good music in the world. And if it's a 10 out of 10, cool. If it's a 7 out of 10, cool. I'm sure he's not that bothered. But he just wants to continually put good music in the world because he wants to do a good thing. And it should be the same for us as people. We should continue to want to do good things in the world and put those good things out in the world because we want to be good people and we want to influence the world in a good way.
And also, I take from it the 5 key words when it comes to being an artist or a creator. Done is better than perfect. How about that? Because a lot of people get hung up on it's not a 10 out of 10 yet, and they're making it mean something about them. But it doesn't have to be that way. A lot of people stifle their creativity. A lot of people will like not put anything out and fuck their careers up.
Yeah, and this is why I don't really mess with Kendrick. Like, I like his music and I think he's sick. There's no question of, you know, that he's a great artist. But I don't mess with him because he doesn't put enough music out. Like, I'm not bothered to be waiting 4 years to hear your next track. Like, I'm not that much of a fan to care. And that's just me personally. But that's his way of doing things. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong compared to the way other artists do it. But I feel like he makes the music about him. He wants to make the perfect track. He wants to make it so unique and specific, and he wants to get the details down to a T and piece together the perfect, you know, To Pimp a Butterfly album and, you know, Good Kid, Mad City and all this sort of stuff, right? But sometimes you just put good music out there, innit? Like, no one cares if you put your demos out and they still sound good. Like, no one's going to be like, oh no, but that's not. Yeah.
A good example of this for me is Abracadabra from London, because a lot of people say he's catting Pop Smoke's sound. Oh, he's trying to be like him. If you look at his discography, if you look at his catalog, he's been sounding like that for a long time, before Pop Smoke was popular. And it's quite interesting because I look at the people who are putting stuff out consistently. Remember, like Skepta, Roll Deep, Wiley. You look at their discographies. You can't fit them all on this piece of paper on like that covers the table. Yeah, there's so many tracks. Like there's this one. Wiley has this. I can't remember what album it is. I think it's like Esky Beats or Esky Boy. The album. I think it's Esky Boy the album. And there's about 18 tracks on there. And then 6 months later, he comes out with volume 2. And there's another 10 tracks on it. It just kept banging it out. And now he doesn't really make that much music compared to back in the day. But like you said, the music stands the test of time. I can go back and listen to So Amazing. Do you remember that Wiley track?
Yeah.
So amazing. So amazing. I come through blazing, taser on tasing. I love that song. And it's from 2004. Yeah. I could still bang that. I still listened to it in the gym the other day, actually.
Yeah. But this is it, right? And the same thing goes for like... who just came to mind for me? Gets, right? Gets was a sick example. Gets put out bare freestyles and bare music back in the day when like grime was fully underground, and he was known as being like one of the best lyricists. And he continued putting music out even during that period between like 2005 to 2014, where grime was dead. Right? He kept putting music out. He kept making music that was from the essence of grime. And no one cared about him. No one cared because no one was really listening to grime like that on a big scale. Like he still had fans. There were still grime fans, like including myself. He was still. I think he released Rebel Without a Cause. Was that the album he put? I think that was the album he put out around 2014-15. And then around that 2015 mark, when Stormzy started getting popular, Skepta started getting popular, and grime started becoming like this big deal again. And then, you know, obviously in turn, like drill and everything else that's followed from that, like. Gets has come back into the picture again because people are like, oh, this is Gets, like he's a legend, he still makes sick music, like, but he wasn't caring about that when people were saying that grime was dead. He was just putting out good music because he wanted to keep putting out good music in the world. And I see that the music that artists like that are putting out isn't just music, it's energy, it's vibes, it's you know, call it whatever you want, spirit. Like they're putting something good out into the world, right? But it takes the form of music. Right, and okay, some people could debate that because of the lyrics or whatever, but at the end of the day, people still enjoy the music, right? So they're still putting something good into the world.
I think that's a really good example of Gets is not living in the thought created world of, oh, grime's dead because people say it is. He's living in his real world where he really enjoys creating this kind of music and he's just going for it.
Exactly.
And this is a really funny distinction to draw because this kills a lot of people's careers. They could have had a sick career. I just talked about Dave Chappelle the other day. A lot of people will say, oh, I've been cancelled, so I can't say anything. Oh my God. Like, it doesn't actually mean anything. And I love what you're getting at. You know that when you're saying people putting out energy. So I know a lot of producers and I make music myself, but not to like any professional scale. I just like it. I like making noise.
I can tell.
And someone said to me like, oh, this is terrible. I was like, hold on a second. This is someone's therapy. Yeah, like I like grunge music. I like very heavy death metal. I can listen to Slipknot, Devil Driver, Wiley, Rihanna all in the same 5 minutes. I don't mind it. And I like to look at like the frequencies inside the music. It's like therapy to a lot of people. So like you go to a drum and bass night, right? You're not going to see people looking very pretty and all dressed up and glammed up. You're going to see people like me rolling in shorts and t-shirt and dancing like their pants are on fire. Because it's a very aggressive sound, right? Like proper drum and bass, not the new shit that we've got. But like jungle, for example, it can be a very dark and aggressive sound. But you go to these places and the people are vibing to it. It's not like, you know, people are trying to hurt each other. Yeah, you might get a little bit of that anywhere you go. But I really see that, like, whatever you're putting out into the world, someone wants it. You know, I didn't think death metal was that popular. And I asked one of my friends recently, hey, have you heard the new Trivium album? He goes, oh my God, Sachin, I didn't realize you into that. I was like, yeah, man, I heard it recently. It's actually pretty sick. And I think there's a lot to be said about if you doubt your content, you're being selfish. Before you put something out into the world, if you're like, oh, I don't know who's going to want it, stop being selfish.
Yeah, man. Do you know what? And this is why I rate what you put out, because you'll put out a video about Mortal Kombat, you'll put out a video about Yu-Gi-Oh. You don't care who else is into that, because firstly you want to make it because you relate to it, and secondly you'll find a way for it to relate to someone else. Do you know what I mean? But that's sick, because like who's to say that a video about Mortal Kombat can't relate to a single mum who's never heard of Mortal Kombat before? Why not? Like you can make it relate to them if they look at it through a certain lens, right? And that's all it is. Sometimes it's like not being selfish in what you're putting out. And sometimes it can also be a detriment, right? Because you're constantly like thinking, oh, I have to put something out, But we were having a conversation with your coach and the work that I've been doing with him as well yesterday, Ankush, and he was saying like, I just put out a podcast when I want to put out a podcast, or I put out a YouTube video when I want to put it out. I don't really stick to a schedule. I just, when I want to make one, I make one and I put it out. There's no like, because it feels right for me. And I think sometimes you can get caught in the trap of, and I've been there, like trying to keep up with this imaginary standard that you've set of like, need to put something out once a week. I need to do this thing on a Monday and this thing on a Wednesday and put this thing out on a Sunday. And like, that's all bullshit. Like who says, like, just, if you want to make something and put it out and it feels right to you, you don't need someone else to tell you, oh no, you need to do it 3 times a week, or you need to do it twice a day at 11 o'clock because that's a good time for the algorithm. And like, just put it out, like, because someone was going to find it, someone's going to relate to it. And if not, you can point people to it and tell them how it's going to relate to them if they listen to it in a certain way. And that's kind of what I've really enjoyed doing with my content over the last like 3-4 months, is making the content that I want to make from like the stuff that I'm learning, and then helping people see how that content can be helpful for them as well, without me having to tell them like, this is the things exactly. It's like, if you watch it like this, if you can, you know, be open to it, like this is what you could get from it, and then asking them to see like, okay, watch it and then let me know what you get from it. And people always find different things to what I've made in it. I was talking to Shakka, the artist, yesterday actually on my podcast, recording an episode with him, and he asked me, what did I get from his album? Because he was like, I know what I got from it because I made the album. He's like, what did you get from it? Like listening to it, I'd be interested to hear. And I told him, I saw it as a journey of like trying to understand your own masculinity within yourself, because the album's called Road Trip to Venus. And I was like, this is sick, because to me, there's the whole Mars, Venus, male, female thing, right? Whether that's right or wrong, who cares, right? But that's the purpose of it, right? And he's saying he's going from Mars to Venus. And he's not, I didn't see it in his, the way that he made the album was like, he's going to Venus and wanting to experience women, and not just in that way, just like in general, right? The world of women. But I saw it as, you're taking yourself from the place of Mars and putting yourself in a place where you're not comfortable from a masculine point of view, a masculinity point of view, and wanting to learn about those more feminine sides of your masculinity. Like that's what I took from the album. And he was like, oh damn, like, I didn't really think about that. And I was like, well, that just goes to show, innit? Like it's open for interpretation, but you can always take something from it. And this goes back to the original point, why I want to start doing these reviews, or why I will start doing them, is because I know that I'm going to see things in these albums, films, TV shows, whatever, that other people aren't seeing because they're not me. And other people are going to see things that I'm not going to see because I'm not them. But I want to share the things that I'm learning from it, because I'm seeing and taking really powerful learnings from these things. And who am I to stop myself putting those learnings out into the world? You know, it's not about me. It's about just sharing this stuff. Someone will find it useful.
Yeah, man. I think there's a really great interview with the guy who made something. I can't remember where it was. He made something. I think it was either a comic book or a movie. He made it, and he's doing like a panel, right? And he was telling this story. He was on the panel, and someone stood up and asked a question. He's like, yeah, in the front, whatever. And the guy said, was it intentional? Did you put this story arc in here intentionally to challenge these ideas? He sat there, he's like, I've got no idea what you're talking about. Then he's like, they're like, wait, what, you didn't mean to challenge I think it was a patriarchy or something like that, like a hierarchical structure of society. He goes, I was just trying to tell a story. I just thought it'd be interesting.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think sharing stories has a very curative, healing aspect to it, because I identify with the characters in Mortal Kombat, as you can see on my beautiful bottle over here, and the t-shirt. Look, you know what? I'll give you a real quick example of this. Yeah, Goro. Yeah, on this side of the t-shirt, a guy with 4 arms. Yeah, it's quite unrelatable. I don't have 4 arms. I'm not the Mortal Kombat.
You do have
champion.
a ponytail though.
Yeah, I think it's a lot prettier than that. I can't really relate to him as a person, right? But what I take from Goro's story is about honor. It's all about honor, because he's so ashamed of himself for losing a fight that he hides away in a cave for years and years and years, and after being the reigning Mortal Kombat champion for over 500 years. Now, that's all about ego. You know, you're coming at the world from, I've got this idea and story of myself, and now that that's been shattered, I don't know who I am without these victories, I'm going to just fuck off into this cave. I think all of us have experienced that at some point. I don't know who hasn't. And you can't, like, most people won't look at this 4-armed monster who rips people's arms off and their heads. They won't look, they won't take that. Oh man, I've got so much enjoyment and coaching lessons out of this stuff. It's crazy. Tell me, why do you like Dragon Ball Z?
Oh, okay. All right, great. So here's the thing, right? I'll come back to that question in a second, right? So last week I had a conversation with this guy who makes this YouTube channel called Forgotten Relics, and he makes videos based on the animation styles of Dragon Ball Z, and he makes all these different comparisons, and he talks about how, you know, this certain artist does it differently to this certain artist, and how they make the episodes, and why, you know, over time the characters' features and the look and the way that they've drawn them has changed. It's sick. Yeah, I had a conversation with him, and kind of going on to what you were saying before, I was like, why do you make this stuff? And he was like, I just really love animation, I really love Dragon Ball Z. And I was like, oh, I thought it's because like you want to make your own like anime one day, and you're using this to like create a platform so that when you start making your anime, you can start doing like a behind the scenes vlog of like you making the anime, and then when it's ready you can like release like a 2-minute thing on your channel, and you're going to have bare people watching it because you built up an audience. He was like, what? So I never thought of that. I was like, bro, you should do that. That's a sick idea. I was like, and then you can make like each little vlog, you can make it into like mini TikToks. And I was just like spitting all this stuff, because I was coming from the place of like, I can't do that because I don't know anything about animation. I didn't even notice that like from episode to episode, sometimes the characters in Dragon Ball Z look very different. I never noticed it until I come across his channel, and then I started clocking it. So I can't make that stuff, but I can have an idea on what you can do with that. Like, who am I to hold on to that? I'm going to just tell you. Like, and if you want to take it on as a inspiration to go and do your own thing with it and remix it and do it in your own way, cool, do it. But like, I'm not going to hold back on it. And that comes back to that thing of like, why hold back on stuff that you just feel like you need to share sometimes, especially in a creative space. So yeah, that was an interesting conversation.
Powerful, man.
Yeah.
And you know, who are you to hold on to these ideas? It's like, it's quite selfish of us to keep our enthusiasm for other people's stuff to ourselves. That's why I think that's one of the reasons why I get off the phone with random people I've never met before, and they say to me like, I've never felt so motivated in my life. I feel like I need to go for a run. All right, let's talk about Dragon Ball Z, because like, it's not my favorite anime. My favorite anime is Naruto.
Yeah. All right, I'm getting to it. I know. I've got to finish Dragon Ball Super first.
Okay, let's not even get into that. Naruto is at least 14,000 minutes of television, so you got time. All right, whatever. But talk to me about Dragon Ball Z. Like, I know the general story arcs. There's Cell, Frieza, Saiyans, Raditz. You know, I know roughly what's going on. I've watched it a long time ago. It didn't really speak that deeply to me, except for Piccolo, and I'll tell you a bit about that later. But yeah, tell me why you like Dragon Ball Z.
Well, first of all, the reason I got into it in the first place, because when I was like 14, 15, maybe even younger, I used to come home from school, put on Cartoon Network. Remember Cartoon Network back in the day? Can't remember the channel number now, and it was the thing that was on TV. So I used to sit there and be like, oh, like, I came across it one day and I was like, oh, what's this? And there was like these people like trying to find these golden balls, and they found them, and then this dragon came out of them, and I was like, oh, damn, what's this? And then all of a sudden they're fighting some guy on some next planet, and it's like sick, right? And I was just really into it as a kid, and I got into the storylines and the martial arts and all of this stuff that was going on in the stories. And as I've got older, I've always related to it. It's always been my little like guilty pleasure of like, I've just always like I've always like related stuff back to Dragon Ball Z. Like, even though I can't really remember watching the full thing at all, and I can only remember parts of it, I just always related to it. It was like this thing that I was always really interested in. So recently I was like, oh, I'm gonna start watching Dragon Ball Z again. Like, I'm gonna watch it I didn't watch it from the beginning, to be fair. I watched it from the beginning of the Cell saga, because I can remember the Frieza saga, which is like the Frieza saga, the Cell saga, the Buu saga, the best ones. Like, that's what made the show popular, basically. So I started watching the Cell saga again, because I couldn't remember really how it ended and how that rolled into the Buu saga, blah blah. Anyway, so I started watching it, and I was like, this is actually sick, because there's so many sick learnings in this program, right? So I'll give you 3 different examples from 3 different characters, right? So first of all, you got Goku. Goku is the main guy when it comes to Dragon Ball. He's the main protagonist, right? He's a Saiyan. Saiyans are an alien race from the planet Vegeta, who are a warrior race, and basically they go around taking over other planets and destroying them. Not Goku, because Goku, when he was a child, I can't remember how he came to Earth. He came to Earth in a little spaceship, but he bumped his head when he landed, and he forgot that he was a Saiyan, and that his whole purpose of being, according to the Saiyan race, was to destroy planets and take them over. So he grew up being like this really like nice, fun-loving guy with all of these sick powers. He was like stronger than everyone, quicker than everyone. He could fly, like all of this stuff. And as his story progresses, like, people keep coming to Earth to try and fight Goku, and well, first of all, it was the Saiyans that come, like Vegeta and Raditz and whatever, come to Earth to try and destroy Goku, because they're like, he's this Saiyan who's not being a Saiyan. We need to get rid of him because he's destroying the name of what it is to be a Saiyan. Doesn't even wear our armor or whatever. And the sick thing about Goku is that he always rises to the challenge. Like, when he was a kid, he didn't know what he was or how good he was at fighting, or that he could fly, or that he had all these powers that he could like shoot energy out of his hands and stuff. And he basically just, every time there's a challenge and someone comes to try and challenge him or destroy Earth, he rises to the challenge. He keeps meeting the level of the person who's coming to him. So first it's Vegeta and Raditz, and then, no, first it's Piccolo, isn't it? And then it's Vegeta and Raditz, and then it's Frieza, and then it's Cell, and then it's Buu, and then it's Beerus, and then it's and it goes on and on. And every time Goku raises his level to meet them at their standard, and eventually goes beyond the level that they're at to not destroy them, to defeat them, right? And this is sick, because we do this in our own life without realizing it. We do it in a lot of areas in our life. You start to learn to drive. You don't know how to drive. You have to raise your level in order to learn how to balance the pedals. You need to raise your level in order to be aware on the road. You need to raise your level in order to pass your theory test. You need to raise your level in order to pass your driving test. Like, we do it in so many different areas. We raise our game in relationships when we want relationships to work. We raise our standards isn't the right word, but we raise our level of what we're bringing to a relationship and the communication that we bring to a relationship in order to get the most out of the relationship. And this is what I see in Goku. He's someone who's always willing to raise his level. He never shies away from it. He never goes, oh no, do you know what? Frieza's too strong for me. I'm not going to fight this one. He's like, bring it on. Like, I'm going to try and beat you. And if I don't, cool, but I'm going to try. And because he's willing to do that and he's not willing to put a limit on his potential, he always smashes through what he probably thinks his potential is. Like, there's the whole thing in the Frieza saga where he becomes a Super Saiyan for the first time, which is like this legendary thing in the Saiyan race where you transform and your power increases like 10 times and your hair goes gold, and it's like something no one's ever seen for like thousands of years. But Goku manages to do it because he's willing to put himself on the line to raise his level in order to do what he needs to do. And that's like, if there's not a life lesson in that, I don't know what is, right? And then, so that's one example, right? I'll give you the second one. I won't give you the third one because I'll let you do Piccolo as the third one. Ooh. And yeah, you said it first. The second one is Gotenks, right? So when it comes to the Buu saga, years have passed by. And basically Goku has a young child, his youngest son called Goten, who's, I think, supposed to be like 7 or 8 in the program, and Vegeta, who is Goku's sworn enemy, he's another Saiyan, he's the prince of the Saiyan race. He comes to Earth to destroy Goku, but over time he ends up being not so bad, and he becomes a bit softer and a bit nicer, and they kind of become, I say kind of because they don't really become friends, they kind of become friends. Anyway, he has a son on Earth called Trunks, and what happens is in the Buu saga, Goku died before that trying to fight Cell. He actually dies and he goes to the other world, and while he's in the other world, he meets all of these otherworldly people who teach him all of these new things. And there's a certain race of people, I can't remember what they're called, they teach him this thing called the fusion dance, and the fusion dance allows 2 people to come together and share one body and an energy and become like a new entity. So during the Buu saga, Goku's allowed to return to Earth for 24 hours to help with the situation because he's the best fighter the Earth has ever had. They need his help. But when his time starts running out, he realizes he needs to do something, that he can't be there to help, so he needs to do something about it. And what he decides to do is he decides to teach Goten and Trunks the fusion dance because they're both the same sort of age, similar height, similar power level, which meets the criteria of being able to do the fusion dance together because you need to be very, very similarly matched. So he teaches them how to do it, and when they do it, they come together and they create this character called Gotenks, who becomes an amalgamation of Goten and Trunks. He takes both of their characteristics, he looks like a mixture of both of them, and he becomes one person, but he is 2 people on the inside. And there's only a limit of time that they can stay as Gotenks, things like half an hour. And basically, Goten is like a really fun-loving, like innocent child, and Trunks is like innocent and playful, but also a little bit arrogant. And basically, when they come together to become Gotenks, he's got both of their traits. So he's got like this really fun, playful side to him where he's like making up all these stupid new like moves and like doing stuff that people haven't seen before. But at the same time, he thinks he's a lot stronger and a lot better than what he is because he's got the arrogance of Trunks. And what happens is he allows his arrogance to take over him, and he goes out on his own to try and fight Buu without doing any training or practicing in his new body. And Buu basically whoops his ass and like smashes him up, and they split back into Goten and Trunks. Reason I use that as an example is because I see that as relationships, right? If you come into a relationship, you're fusing together with one person to become one person, one entity, one soul, one shared energy, whether that's a friendship, whether that's a personal relationship, whether that's your family, whether that's with a client, whatever that is, right? You're coming together to share energy, to share space, to share, to become one in a way. If you allow yourself to bring too much of you to the situation, it's going to fuck up what you're doing, like it did with Trunks. Trunks allowed his side of his arrogance to take over the Gotenks situation, so their arrogance fucked them up because they got beaten up by Buu, and they ended up then like just splitting and like being all like messed up from it. And if you allow the same thing to happen in a relationship with anyone, with a client, with a partner, with a family member, whatever, it's going to do the same thing. It's going to mess up your situation because you're allowing too much of your own ideas and concepts and perspectives on the world to take over the situation. Whereas you need to see it as it's not a me and you, it's an us situation. And when you see things as an us situation, you see it as a team, things should work a lot more seamlessly. It's like if you are into any sort of team sport like football, if you just put 11 people out on the pitch and just said, yeah, go and do your thing, they're probably going to get beaten every week. You have to work as 11 individual people working as one team in order to create the result that you want. And it's the same thing with relationships. You need to be able to like come together as one in order to get the best out of the situation that you have in front of you. And if you're not able to do that, that's why a lot of relationships break down.
Wow.
That's just 2 characters.
Whoa, holy shit. All right, I'll try and follow that difficult to follow act. Fuck me. So the reason I love Piccolo from Dragon Ball Z is like a redemption arc to me. You know, I was a very dysfunctional person. I was never violent, but I wanted to fuck shit up all the time. I was just like, I had a lot of evil inside me. I think all of us do, but I was very much in touch with it for a long time. And it's like Piccolo is a demon, right? He comes from the planet Namek, which is like faraway place. It's actually quite peaceful when they go there. But why is he such a dick?
I don't know.
That's the same as me. I come from a good home. Why am I such a dick? You know, when people meet my parents, they're expecting my parents to be like really different. They're expecting them to be like, I don't know, but I've heard it before. Like, Sachin, when I met your parents, I thought they were like, they weren't your parents. Oh, why? And they go, someone said to me like, yeah, it's weird that you come from that. I'm like, okay, it's kind of the same with Piccolo. He's come from this beautiful, peaceful green planet, and he's just a dick. He wants to kill people. I don't know if yes, I have wanted to kill people in the past, and I didn't do anything about it. Piccolo's redemption arc, it's like it took him getting humbled by Goku to understand, or like what. To have an appropriate estimation of oneself, self-esteem, right? Piccolo's self-esteem is dependent on how strong he is. He can't really handle it that Goku beat him. But he chooses to put that to the side for a minute, and he actually helps out raising Gohan, which I thought was pretty powerful. Helps him to...
trains him, right?
Yeah.
His first trainer.
Raising him to... giving him values of like, hey, stop crying all the time. It's not something that I want to push on people. Crying's good for us. I do all the stuff. I'll do all the fucking time. But what I love what Piccolo does. So raising him is like giving him values, training him to give him the strength. Put those 2 things together in Goku's absence, and that's why Gohan's able to like put up a fight against Cell. But look at the redemption arc there. He started off with like, I'm going to destroy you lot, and he's gone all the way over to I'm going to help you fight Cell. And also, he doesn't have little dick syndrome about it, right? Like, the kid is stronger than him. And instead of being like, oh, that means something about me, he's like, I'll help him get stronger. That's what I feel has happened to me. I identify so much with Piccolo because it's like, I was like him in the beginning. I just wanted to fucking destroy everyone. And I've gone all the way over to like recognizing other people's strengths and wanting to build them up instead of destroy everything. And man, it's like, if I can have that redemption arc in my own life over the course of like 25 years or so, and now like I'm really walking that path for the last 4, 5, 6 years, what's possible for other people? We see this all the time, right? Like people who spend a lot of time in prison and then they come out, like my mentor Wes. Wes, if you're watching this, hi. I know you're not watching this. My mentor Wes is just one of the most inspirational people I've ever met in my life. The way his redemption arc is basically like Piccolo as well, and the way he talks, you know, you can tell some of the stories he tells about stabbing the shit out of people in prison. He's not proud of it. I'm sure if we asked Piccolo when he's like talking to, you know, raising Gohan and training him and stuff, I'm sure he wouldn't be proud of like, yeah, I wanted to kill everyone before. We wouldn't be proud of it, would he? It's the same as Wes. You know, like he's not gonna be ashamed of his actions in the sense that like he's trying to ignore them. He's like, no, I did that and I needed to do that to be able to be here with you. So I think redemption arcs are super powerful. We see this in Game of Thrones as well with the Hound, right? The Hound is just, he's happy to kill people. Not happy, but like he's just used to it. It's not really a big deal to him. Then he meets those religious people and he's trying to be a better man. And then he comes across the Brotherhood and he has to fight with them. He's trying to be better. And what Piccolo's arc and the Hound and my mentor Wes and all these people who have had mad redemption arcs, myself too, is when you're trying to be better, you'll be even more tested than when you were trying to be bad. And it's hard, man. It can be hard. It's not hard anymore. I get invitations to be a dick to people all the time. I get invitations to do stuff that I used to do all the time. I don't need to do it.
So then how then do you stop yourself from getting dragged back into that past self? Like Piccolo, he obviously manages to stop himself getting dragged back into being evil Piccolo.
Here's the reason why. It's love. Love is way more powerful than fear, right? You got that this sleeve on my arm, the theme is like war, right? There's two themes in my life that I think are themes for everyone: love and war. When you got love, you will fight for it. War is usually fought between love and fear. So for me, like when I look at what's an invitation to be a dick or like to destroy something, it might be that someone, in my opinion, has pissed me off. And in my thought created reality, that's real to me. But in the real world, someone has said something, I don't need to react to it. Or they've done, like I got lied to for like a long period of time, yeah. And I was pissed. I was so pissed. And I felt like, I even said to that person, I'm going to fucking destroy you. And I said, you don't have to worry about your safety. You don't have to worry about me being violent. I don't want to do that. I'm not going to pay someone to hurt you or anything. I'm just going to be a headache for you. Every day when you wake up, you look at your phone, you open your emails, you try and run your business, I'm going to be there. It's like a demon face. Yeah? I'm going to be staring you in the fucking face, you prick. Anyway, I said that to them. And then I started laughing afterwards. I was like, I just, even saying it out loud, I'm getting tired.
Yeah. It's exhausting.
Yeah.
It's exhausting, yeah.
You look at how much energy people put into being that way, and they're tired constantly. They never get enough sleep. I was like that. Yeah, I used to sleep 14 hours a day sometimes and still never get enough sleep. And now I'm rolling with love. I can't sleep more than 5 hours, 6 hours. It's hard for me to sleep more than that because I have so much to give. And I think it's the same with if let's say you're trying to stop drinking or smoking cigarettes or weed or whatever your thing is that you're wanting not to do. I didn't have sex for like 3 years. And during that time, I wasn't drinking. Well, I'd just stopped drinking alcohol. Just stopped partying. I'd never really had loads of sex before that, but it was like a big deal to me. And the only way that I stopped doing those things, pursuing certain activities, was by choosing other stuff that was actually interesting. Rather than let me focus on not being that way, it was let me focus on these things that I'm finding interesting right now. And I think that's a way better. Things like diet, right? If you're eating a lot of processed stuff and you want to start eating more vegetables, don't focus on eliminating the processed stuff. Just, all right, I'm just going to eat more broccoli. It's got a lot of vitamin C in it, by the way.
Yeah, well, and this is the thing. This is kind of like what I was talking to your mum about before. Like she likes to run, right? She had loads of medals hanging up in your house of like 5Ks and 10Ks, which is sick. I'm like, that is sick. I love that. That's just not me. I don't find running enjoyable. So I'm not going to be a runner because I don't find it enjoyable. Instead, if I want to do something that's good for me and it's going to keep me fit and healthy and active, I'll find something else that I enjoy. I'll maybe play football with my mates once a week, or I'll skateboard, or I'll go to the gym regularly. Like, it's about, like putting your energy towards the things that you actually find interesting. Like, I find going to the gym and working out and even doing yoga more interesting than running because I get bored when I'm running. I find playing football more interesting than running because I get bored when I'm running. I even find cycling more interesting than running.
I think community is also a huge aspect of it. Look at Piccolo. Before, when he was evil, he was just on his own, rolling on his Jack Jones. And when he starts rolling with everyone else, it's a lot harder for him to be that way because they're not like that. It's like I used to be a very negative person, yeah. And I started trying to roll with more positive people. And I said something and they looked at me like, huh? Like no one understood it. And it was like those, I didn't get judgment from them. It was like, that's a bit strange. Because a negative person has a problem for every solution. And they just weren't used to hearing it. They're like, Sachin, are you all right? I'd never heard that before. I was like, all right then. And it kind of like, it's like a community aspect of this is our collective way of thinking. It's benefiting us. It might benefit you too. And my negative way of thinking couldn't really exist in that place. So I had a choice. Do I want to hold on to this thing that I've been for so long, or do I want to just experiment and like dip my toe in this?
Yeah. And do you know what it is? It's like there's two different ways you can experience anything, right? And I'm going to go back to Dragonball Z in this, right? I'm going to use Goku and Vegeta as the example, right? They're both Saiyans, both from the same race. They're both amazing warriors. They're both the best fighters out there, pretty much. Vegeta is a very negative, angry dude. Like, all he ever wants to do is be better than Goku. Like, that's all he cares about. He doesn't care who he's fighting. He doesn't care what he's doing. He just wants to be better than Goku. And if he's not better than Goku, he's pissed. And it looks really hard for him to become a better fighter because he makes such a meal of it. Like, oh, that damn Goku, I need to train as hard as possible. I need to do this thing, and I need to like go and work out in this room that's 10 times gravity, so that it's even harder for me to train. And like, I need to work my socks off and right? And Goku, on the other hand, is very fun loving. He just loves to fight because he loves to fight. He doesn't care how strong he is. And because he doesn't care, he enjoys the process of training and he enjoys the process of fighting, and therefore he gets stronger. If I had a choice, if I sat back, right, and someone said to me, okay, you can become a fighter. Not that I want to become a fighter, but you can become a fighter. You can be like Vegeta, and it can be really hard work, and you can be really angry about it, and all you can care about is getting better than the next person. And you're going to train yourself into the ground every day because you want to be better than that person. Or you can be like Goku, and it can be really fun for you and really interesting that you make your training very enjoyable, and therefore you become a really good fighter. Which option do you choose? I know which one I'm going to choose. I'm going to choose the fun one. I'm not going to choose the angry, hard work one. I want to choose the fun one. It's still going to be hard work, but it's going to be a lot more fun. And that's how I see anything. It's like there's always two ways you can experience it, you know, maybe not just two, but if we're looking at the duality of it, right? There's always two ways you can experience something. You can experience something like Vegeta, or you can experience something like Goku. Which one do you want to experience?
You're asking me?
Blue pill or the red pill?
Oh. I think love is the most powerful choice, but it's harder to choose. You know, sometimes it can be really hard to choose the love. Like, I'm choosing not to eat meat just because I'm choosing more love. I don't want to get into that right now, man. It's a heavy thing. What is your favorite lesson that you've learned over the last 12 months?
That anything's only as hard as you make it out to be.
One more time.
That anything is only as hard as you make it out to be. You taught me that.
I didn't remember.
You didn't say it in that way, but that's what I took from what you said on one of our calls.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sick.
Making stuff hard. Like, we choose to make stuff hard. You don't have to choose to make it hard. Goku or Vegeta. Be Goku. Not advice, but be Goku. Just my opinion. Be
more Goku. How about that for an ending? All right, thanks, Alex. I appreciate you dropping the wisdom on us as usual. Where can people get hold of you, and what do you have that you want them to check out?
That's a great question. Best place is Instagram or TikTok, actually, at I am Alex Manzi on both platforms. And if you want to check out any of my stuff, just go to any of my pages, check out some of my videos, see if you fuck with them. If you do, DM me, say, yo, heard you with Sachin, hi, and we'll have a conversation about what you liked. Or if you really want, you can go check out my podcast, In a Moment with Alex Manzi, either or. Yeah, and if you didn't like it, holler at me, because I love to argue. Yeah, or let me know as well, because I'd love to know why you didn't like it. Oh, I just like starting fires. Oh God, I'm not a pyromaniac. I mean theoretical fires. I'm not into burning things. Man, that reminds me, I've got to do an episode on Pyro from X-Men. It's gonna be a sick episode. I've got so much to talk about. All right, thanks everyone for tuning in. Appreciate your listenership and your ear for this time that we spent together. And we'll see you in the next episode. Peace.